So this is how because I don't know how to loop it in later.
Oh, that's great. So much easier, too.
I just play it as we talk. Guys, it's Theo Vaughn.
What's up, guys?
Now.
Beautiful. Tuesday, what is it?
Is it a Tuesday? Dude, this is how this song. Every time I play it, dude, the same reaction from everybody. How can you not have that reaction, right? This is like.
This is urban right here.
This is everything. Shaka Khan. They don't have people don't sing like this anymore, Theo Vaughn.
I feel like once white people get forgiven for slavery, this will be the song they play.
You know what, by the way?
You know?
I listened to Uptown Funk the other day. I blame Uptown Funk for making every white person think they can dance.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as that song comes on, every white person's like, oh, I got a little something for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got a little something. But, you know, my
Uptown Funk is really, it's a gateway drug to somebody spraining their back.
Yeah, to a white person out on the floor, like, let's get it.
Yeah.
You know what one song always tricks me into thinking that I can dance is Erotic City by Prince. That comes on, I'm like, oh, I think I can fucking get it.
Yeah.
But my brother's wife, I'm the only person in my family, you know, my other two brothers are married. They're both married black women.
Right.
So I'm the only one who married a white woman.
Wow. So you went white, huh?
I'm the only one left in the will. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude, definitely, dude. But they're the only ones whose children are going to inherit good recipes.
And professional athletes.
Yeah, so it's
dude. But my brother's wife, when he was out there, she was like, I'd like to start dancing. Mm-hmm. And her advice to him was, keep it tight. Keep the elbows in, shoulders down, just keep it tight. So that way you always kind of look like you know what you're doing.
Like a bad boxer?
Yeah, kinda? Yeah. Keep it tight. Every now and then if you want to bring the hands up a little bit, you can, but not too much.
Right.
She said, keep it all in here and you never look too bad. That's kind of what I've stuck by.
Really?
Yeah, right in here, man. It keeps it because this doesn't look terrible, no matter what's playing right now.
Yeah, beach music,
yeah,
50 Cent.
Whatever you got. I'm still kind of in the groove a little bit.
Yeah, you're still up at the wedding. You're still having fun.
Yeah, people are like, dude, that Josh Wolf loves to go out and dance. Yeah, keeping it tight.
Yeah, ooh, look at him. Some older ladies are like, look at him.
Yeah, and by the way, she also said, don't go too fast because you can tell when you're moving fast if you're off beat. But if you're moving slowly,
it's like you just kind of living it within it.
Yeah, you're feeling it. Now,
I like that, man.
Do you have a dancing style?
No, I think I used to like to dance, and then I hurt my back, and then I didn't like it after that. But I used to really like to dance when I was young. I used to go. They used to have this place in Baton Rouge called Tabby's Blues Box, and they had a big brother up there named Tabby, named after a cat, I'm guessing. And he was as fat as you could get. You know, I mean, if you put any more fat in him, his back would split open. And he used to play the blues, and we would go over there and dance down there in Baton Rouge, downtown.
Wait, you know, Jacob went to LSU for a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about this, I remember.
Now, is Tebby's near what's that one place that everybody told me to go eat in downtown Baton Rouge?
Oh, Chimes or whatever?
Yeah, Chimes. Is it down near there?
No, it's more in the downtown. That's kind of like the campus downtown where Chimes is. This is more downtown by the river. But then he died and it went out of business.
But so when you danced, all right.
When I get out there, I get on some slick shoes, throw on some Cousin Eddie's. Like,
what were you dancing to? Like what? Because for me, it's got to be like a Erotic City or an Uptown Funk to make it feel like, oh, I can get this.
Yeah.
Like, what were you?
Oh, I would dance to some Nelly back in the day, dude.
Oh shit!
I used to have some legs on me. I was all legs. I was afraid to move my arms, so I
almost. Oh, you were all lower body dancer?
All legs, yeah. Very alarming to some. Alarming to some, dude. It almost looks like a Tai Chi kind of more like an
yes, because you know when you go low, guys who go lower body also tend to keep their face real still too.
Yeah, I did that,
and that's creepy as shit.
Yeah,
because they're concentrating so much. Like there's just, do you know what I mean? Yeah. You got that look on your face that's really kind of nothing's moving. Yeah. It's like how Kevin Spacey acts. He doesn't move his face. Yeah. He just moves his mouth like this.
Oh, well,
yeah, that's what he. If you watch Kevin Spacey, you're like, that dude's a great actor. I'm like, how do you
know? His
face hasn't moved in fucking 20 years. But see, you went concentration up top. I bet you probably clenched hands a little.
Ooh.
I bet you were a little tight.
I could have, and I was on creatine too at the time.
Dude, you know.
So real tight. That's interesting, man, because I never realized these things.
Went?
Now I'm seeing myself dance for the first time when you're explaining it to me, and it's really
you were tight. People
aggressive.
Were just like...
It's more of a mating call. It's more aboriginal.
A lot of feet stomping?
Yeah.
Like, was there kicking?
Just a lot of knees, a lot of hips, dude. A lot of, kind of pelvis, kind of like, because I got big ass. I've always had a big ass, built like a, as they say, when I was young, they used to think I had Down syndrome for a long time because I had big ass. Or they
Is that a Down syndrome trait?
Yeah, it's a trait, popular trait, and then that they used to have the body of a black woman.
I used to have a big ass too, and that was like the black girls in high school were like, "You got an ass like a..."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Yeah, I'll take that."
Yeah, it was exciting.
Yeah, it was exciting. I took that as maybe the biggest compliment I ever got.
Blackalads, man. There's something, I call them blackalads, and it's something when black people, there's something as a white person.
Yeah.
Where when you feel that black people appreciate you or enjoy what you do, for some reason we let a lot of for me anyway, I find that I let a lot of my judgment upon what is unique or cool come from black people.
Well, that's because, let's not get it twisted, in popular culture, a lot of what drives cool are black folks, and what they say style-wise, clothing-wise, definitely fucking music-wise.
I wonder why.
I mean, when you just watch black dudes walk down the street, they just look cooler than us.
Suaver.
Their voices sound cooler than ours.
Way more comfortable in their skin.
100%.
Like, do black people even get nervous? Sometimes I ask black people that. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen like a nervous black guy.
Who's the most confident person on the face of the earth? A large black woman.
Yeah.
I wish I walked around with that kind of confidence. And by the way, I love it. And by the way, if you read my book, you know that I've had sex with some large black women.
Wow.
Oh, I
didn't even read it.
Dude, one of my...
Now I need to get in there.
I always wanted to have sex with like a... If I'm being... You want to know the prototype? Was Nell Carter.
Ooh, yeah. Temporarily.
Yeah. No, I was
Give
like...
me a break, you know.
That's all I kept picturing, dude.
Really?
Yeah, and I always wanted to have sex. There was something about just having sex with a big black woman.
That body, huh?
I just loved it. And I did. I remember I was bartending in New York, and there was a black woman down the end of the bar, and she got stood up on a date.
Oh.
And we were talking all night, and she had the best sense of humor, dude. She was so funny. She was killing me all night. But we kept joking around. I would give her some drinks, joking around. And after, this bar closed at around 3:34.
Yeah.
And afterwards, when it's closing, I said, "Hey, do you want to go get some food later after we close?" And she goes, "Yeah, I'll go eat with you." So we go eat. She's got this huge stack of pancakes, dude.
Ooh.
I'm eating some eggs. I'm eating some
night
bacon.
cakes, huh?
Oh, dude, we are fucking... She's killing me at the table.
Yeah.
Laughing. And all I'm thinking about is laughing. And I take this huge bite of like hash browns or something. She's got this huge, almost a full pancake on one fork.
Wow.
And she's holding it like this, and she goes, "So we fucking or what?"
No.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I was like, "Or what? Yeah,
Wow.
hell yeah, we are." Check, please.
And when you see that, that's kind of advertising too, because you see that hot cake, and your brain's almost like the bait and switch a little bit.
Oh, dude, both were very appealing to
Yeah.
me. I was like, I'd like to eat that pancake, and I would
Damn.
like to have sex with
That's
you.
beautiful, dude.
But that's my for sure, 100%. But
yeah.
But like you look at a guy like Odell Beckham Jr. Mm-hmm. He influences Jacob.
Yeah.
But I also saw a young black kid at the gym yesterday who had the blonde on top.
Yeah, I see
Like,
a lot of that.
It just feels like black entertainers influenced white youth and the black youth.
Right.
I don't know that there are a lot of white entertainers that are influencing the black community.
Wow, it's a great question. The closest we had was probably Michael Jackson or Prince, Not Prince, really. I think he was more black, a little touch more black.
Yeah.
At least in the clothing.
Yeah, and not Sammy Sosa. Have you seen a picture of him lately?
That's crazy, right?
Oh, my fucking God.
Salmon Sosa, that's what they're calling him.
Dude, white Sammy Sosa is the creepiest looking dude.
And I guess in their culture, from what I read, is that that's like a neat thing,
What do you mean? But I don't understand. How does that happen?
Put on skin bleaching cream. You've been putting it on at night.
Is that what he's done?
Resting in bleach. Yeah, basically just putting on like a layer of bleach, and he's been resting in it, and that's like attractive as you get older in that culture, I guess.
What because that's not like how, I don't know if he has been paying attention, but I'm looking at you. That's not how you look.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's not like he's going white. He's going...
No, he is going white.
Right, but white.
White, like Blanco.
Yeah,
no, he's got to work in some rouge or something. Like, that is not a good look for anybody.
Yeah, he needs like an exterior designer. He needs Yeah, it's bizarre to me. What's bizarre about it is it something that he thinks that people want?
Yeah.
Or is it something maybe sexual? I thought like maybe he thought this like adjust his sexual orientation, or does he like, is it that big of a thing in their culture to look white? Because he was a handsome guy.
Yeah.
I
had never read that it was part of the culture.
Yeah. That's what I read, is that sometimes in their culture they'll put the creams on because they want to, lighten their skin.
You know what? I got to tell you, as somebody from outside of the culture,
yeah,
not a good look.
Yeah.
It's a tough look to pull off.
Well, it's a deceased look.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, there's 2 times when that's good. When you're dead.
Yeah.
And on Halloween.
Yeah.
And
that's once a year.
Yeah.
And
right.
once a lifetime.
Yeah, but that's right. With dead, you nailed it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not even going to need makeup.
Yeah.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah.
But the walking around every day shit, and it's not like he doesn't have a little bit of cash.
Yeah.
The dude has a ton of dough.
Yeah, he could do whatever he wants. Is he married? Does he have a family? I wonder, like, what his circle is like that.
He's clearly, if you're turning yourself into Sammy Sosa,
Yeah.
you have a circle of people who are like, that looks great, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That looks great.
Solid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good choice.
Solid, bro.
You going salmon? I
Damn,
love
bro.
it. Yeah, that's not a good look, dude.
Let's hit the club, dog. You're dead, bro. You're almost dead,
Dia de los Muertos. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah. Dude, now, people have been asking me about our last comic standing showdown.
Yeah, and I have something to ask because I heard it on Fighter and the Kid, actually.
Yeah, because I had never talked about it before.
Yeah.
Now, for those people who don't know, Theo and I were on. And by the way, let me tell you something, man. And anybody who doesn't know Theo or isn't familiar with his stand-up, how many times unsolicited in the last 6 months have I told you that you're fucking killing comedy?
Probably about 5, maybe. And I appreciate it every time, man. It's
Guys,
one of the things that keeps me going a lot of times.
I'm telling you right now, as a storyteller, because those of you who have seen me know that I'll tell a 15, 20-minute story.
Yeah, Joey Diaz the other day was saying you were one of the best, when he came in town, you were one of the best comedians that he'd seen.
Yeah, I love telling stories, right?
Yeah.
But I watch you tell stories, dude, and am fucking in awe. One, you make up words.
Yeah.
That become an integral part of your story.
Yeah.
And people are on board with it 100%. You have a different cadence than I'd ever heard anyone tell a story. And your point of view, dude, that hamster story is like, and I watched that kind of evolve. Do you ever do that? Do you ever get interested in watching other people's jokes evolve?
Mm-hmm. Fahim Anwar I watch a lot.
I love watching how people go, because guys, a joke, I think Joan Rivers said it, joke's never finished.
Yeah.
And so there's sometimes, right? Never finished. That's why when people say to me, I heard that joke, I'm like, but you didn't. You heard it a year ago when I was just starting it.
Yeah.
And now it's so much better.
Yeah, now it's like a little universe sometimes.
But they don't give you, a lot of times they don't give you that. No, they go, but I heard it before. I'm like, but just listen to it one more time, because it was 2 minutes before. It's 8 minutes now.
Yeah.
Do you work everything out on stage?
Yeah, I mean, I'll record it and then throw it back up. I'll record it, go back and listen. Because I learn mostly on stage. That's
Me
what
too.
I find. And unfortunately, it's a slow way to learn. I think sometimes it's a great way to learn, but it's also slow because you have to get out there on the road. You got to be out there, with these long sets where you can have a lot of room to kind of, let your insides just kind of spray out, And I feel like that's where I learn the most, though.
I will tell you, when Beth and I saw you, so I met Theo on Last Comic. And I remember saying, because everybody knew you from something else before.
Yeah, it was a Road Rules cast.
Right.
I started out in reality TV when I was 19.
And I know a lot of people, even at Last Comic, were like, "What's this dude fucking? What's this fucking?"
Yeah.
But I remember telling Beth and anyone who would listen, I was like, if he's this funny now, because I didn't know what your work ethic was like.
Yeah.
Stand up is so much. People understand so much of stand up is your work ethic, because it's repetition and figuring out what you do well. And I'm sure you can tell right now when you're starting to tell a story, you're like, oh, I know I can say this funny.
Yeah.
Right?
100%. Finally, I know, like, this is something. I can even just write it.
Yeah.
I can even have a thought now and know that's going to be big for me.
That's such a huge thing. It's such a huge hurdle where you go, this word will be funny coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Like, there are words that you could say that people get a laugh that I could say that won't get a laugh.
Right.
But that's what makes you different, too. But I remember watching you and being like, this dude, if he's got a work ethic, he's going to be fucking really funny.
Thanks,
and you
man.
are, dude. And nobody works harder than you, man. I look at those lineups. You're on stage like you get 6, 7, 8 sets downtown every week.
Yeah, man. I've done a lot of sets, man. When I think about it, it's funny. I was driving down the street the other day, and I'm like, man, I've done a set in half the places on the street, whether that used to be a bar, it used to be a AA meeting, it used to be a, whatever it was, some, a break room in the back of a grocery store. It's like people have had the weirdest shows.
Yeah.
You know? And so many people just go by the wayside. It's like, it's a wild business, man. But I do always appreciate, there's a couple of guys. Ian Edwards is always really nice. Kirk Fox will reach out sometimes and say nice things. Just guys that do, because that's for, guys that are, we're almost in the same class, maybe a few years different, or groups different of comedians, but like, it means a lot, because it's like, man, it's just such a tough business and there's so much rejection.
It's funny to me, man, if I'm being completely honest with you, it's funny to me that somebody that I know is, and when I say next level funny guys, like, obviously there's Burr and those guys, but Theo's like the next group below. I'm telling you, go see it.
Thanks, man.
But it's crazy to me. Where does your lack of self-confidence come from? Because from the outside looking in, you're a dude who shouldn't lack confidence going all the way back to when I first met you.
Yeah.
But you've always had a little. Where do you think that comes from, man?
Yeah, I think probably.
Do you feel that?
Yeah, I do feel it sometimes. I feel it a little bit less these days. Like the other day I had a moment where I didn't feel it, and I could notice that. So I noticed that I didn't feel, less than, or like I didn't feel incapable,
Is it more on stage or off stage for you?
I think it's more. I think it bleeds on stage, but most of it's off stage. I think some of it came from starting out in reality TV and thinking that, and just having such a, because like, I did Road Rules when I was 19, which is an MTV show. It used to be super popular, and this is a time when there was only 40 channels on television. It was like,
and MTV was huge.
Yeah, I mean, I remember one week we got like 14 million viewers, right? Which is bizarre. Like,
that's Walking Dead shit.
Yeah, that's Walking Dead numbers today. So I think, but then I quit that. I did that for 5 years, and then I just quit. I just wasn't, I kind of evolved. College kind of ended. And then I got into stand-up totally separately. But I feel like this industry is always kind of, even though they say people in LA are so like welcoming and like unjudgmental, like I feel like there was always this hold up, of like, we're not going to give this kid a fair look, And then just recently I started realizing that that I'm getting that's not the case anymore, that people are giving me more of a fair look. But I think a lot of my lack of self-confidence came from, and it was even anger at first, that people weren't going to give me a fair look.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I would really hold that against someone, or just different things that happen in their life, especially like things that happen in people's childhood, whether it was a TV show or whether they got abducted by aliens.
Dude, it was a gig, by the way, abducted by aliens. If you hold that against somebody, you're an asshole.
And people do.
You're an asshole.
I know a guy who got abducted, dude. I actually know.
Do you believe in it? Do you believe in aliens?
Bro,
I'm gonna throw 5 things at you.
Okay.
You rank what you feel like the most probable that they really exist.
Okay.
Aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, Loch Ness, and we got it. I mean, the other one we got to throw in there is the Yeti, right? Isn't that the other one?
Yeah, I'll go with the Yeti. I think ghosts for sure. Like they used to have a lot of ghosts.
Well, where you're from?
Yeah, they busted a man in our town actually trying to be a ghost, dude, at the Ramada.
What the fuck? What do you mean?
This dude, Mr. Sweeney, actually, this dude cut his wiener off at a barbecue one time on LSD. And that's a true story. And this is down there in Natchez, Mississippi. I probably shouldn't be saying it, but I'm saying it.
Wait a second. Nobody tried to stop him? I mean, that's just not like one queen.
I mean, if somebody has their dick out in a knife, I don't think you go near them,
That's probably true.
Not at first.
But did you think he put it on like a cutting board? Or you think he just did it out like by the grill? Or what do you think he did?
I know that he was operating the barbecue at the time, and I know that he was on LSD, and I know that he cut his wiener off, right? And this is a true story.
He threw it on the grill?
I hope not. They put it back on, Maybe to darken it up, Maybe
you wanted just to give it a once-over?
Could you wrap it in bacon, please? I ordered bacon with this, sir. So he He bounced back from that, right? And this is a few years later.
You never bounced.
I mean, he got past.
Okay, there you go.
I think people accepted it, and it was just kind of, crazy day at the, at the grill. And but then he got obsessed with ghosting, doing
ghost stuff.
Yeah, people that don't exist and spirits. And so they had this Ramada in our town where, and this is back when, and Ramadas are known for murder now. When I was young, it was more of a.
What do you mean the Ramada's known for murder?
I mean, there used to be a Tumblr actually that it was like everyRamadaMurder.com. Like every Ramada's had a murder at it. Yeah.
Shit.
So, and they had a couple Ramadas in there that didn't have murders, and then people got murdered at those Ramadas. So it was like finally full circle, dude. This is when Tumblrs were a little more popular. I don't know if they still have it.
I'm going to check the Ramada Yelp reviews.
Yeah, dude. Oh, it gets really heady. Third floor is always closed down for murder, dude. At a Ramada?
Oh my God.
Always, bro. Always,
That
dude.
is crazy.
It's like, is that a mint
Third floor is the
pillow? Like, no, that's a gram, bro. It's a gram of dope. It's a couple of hot grams.
Yeah, turn down.
Yeah, turn down for what, dude?
Yeah.
Let's fucking put on some 50 Cent and smoke a gram up here, And there's always some light prostitution and stuff like that. Like, Ramadas have changed. When I was young, they were Howard Johnson and Ramadas. Holiday Inns were beautiful, Now,
Howard Johnson, when I was growing up, Howard Johnson was fancy.
Yeah. Oh, the Orange Roof?
Oh,
dude?
come on, dude.
They had a nice restaurant.
Attached to the... Oh, who was getting a restaurant attached to... Come on. Now, listen, it didn't take me... It took me a little bit till I was older to realize when you open the door to your hotel room, you don't want to be outside.
Right.
You want to still be inside.
You want to still be inside.
That's the goal. You want whatever you get, doesn't matter how much you pay, but when you open that door, you want to be inside.
Yeah, you want to already be inside somewhere. You want to be going double inside.
Yeah, you want to go inside, outside. Maybe even through a lobby, another inside, then outside. Yeah, you don't want all outside. All outside, unless you're on the beach, all outside is not.
Yeah, all outside's homeless.
Yeah.
So
you don't want to go inside, right outside.
Yeah.
You want to go inside, kind of inside, outside.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So you can really count how you're doing really on the level of inside.
Yeah. If you go like inside, and then you need to get another door to go to a lobby, then you're inside, and then another inside. Oh, you're in a fancy fucking place.
Yeah, dude. You actually at that point you might be
in somebody's house,
kidnapped.
Yeah.
You might be being held hostage.
But dude, straight inside, outside.
Yeah,
that's
wild, dude.
That's a bad.
If when you open the door, somebody can't see the television because of the sunlight.
Yeah. By the way, when you open the door and you take one step and you can jump into the pool, that's not good.
That's true, dude.
That's a fucking.
Hey, Daddy's gonna jump from the living room into the deep end, y'all. So
put the swan floaty in the deep end.
Y'all back up. Y'all back up, dude. Why is it that any time when somebody's doing something ignorant in the South, people are always like, y'all back up,
And everyone takes half a step backwards.
I want to be close to
I don't want to be too far back. But I
don't want to miss it.
The South, like what I've found, and I think it's great, like the stories you have about growing up in the South are not unique they're unique to you, but there's stories like that all over the South. All over the South. The stories that Beth's friends tell me about growing, I'm just like blown away just by more of the. I'll tell you what I really admire about it is that it's not that the people in the South raising the kids didn't care about their kids. They just let them go out and be kids with a group of other kids.
Right.
There wasn't that. Look, the reason that
it wasn't that they're going to learn everything from me.
Yeah, and there wasn't also that fear-based. You weren't raised in fear that if you left the house you were going to die.
Yeah.
You leave the house by yourself, some bad shit's going to happen. Listen, Jacob, when he was 10, maybe 11, we lived here. And, Studio City has a park that's 1.5 miles away.
Yeah.
In Studio City.
Yeah.
Does it get whiter in Studio City?
Yeah.
It's the whitest place in America.
It?
Oh, my God. It's so white. So he was like, yeah, me, and I'm not going to say the kid's name, want to go to the park. I said, that's cool. I said, and the kid had his bike here. And he said, you should call my mom just to make sure it's okay for us to bike there. And I was like, okay. And I call her. I go, just so you know, the kids are going to bike to the park. And she said, are you going with them? I go, no, I'm not going to the park.
Yeah.
They're almost 12.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, they can't be at the park by themselves. I'm like, why not? And she was like, what's going to happen to them? What if somebody kidnaps him? I'm like, in Studio City?
Yeah.
What?
Who? A producer?
Yeah. They're going to kidnap him, take him. What are they going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do? Give
Taking him some hot
work?
yoga? What are they doing? I mean, come on. But she would not. She was like, no.
Wow.
And she was like, listen, I'll pick them up and drive them over. I'm like, I don't want you driving my son over. The point is, I want him on his bike doing some shit on his own.
Yeah.
So he gets a little bit of confidence. Do you know what I mean? And a little independence. Yeah. I mean, you didn't. When you left the house at 10 or 11, didn't you just leave the house?
Oh, yeah, man. I remember once we had a bike about like 7, we could go ride, within like 4 blocks. It was like an area that we kind of couldn't go, but we really could.
And you had your little group of friends, right?
Yeah, we had like 2 or 3 people, and you just kind of ride around and just ride through the ditches. And, you had to be careful for cars. That was the scariest thing, was the cars.
No, did you grow up near a swamp at all in Baton Rouge?
Not too far. I grew up we had some like rivers more and stuff by us that would get a little swampy in some areas, but maybe 6 miles from a good swamp.
I always found it because Beth and her family, they were like, we
that's
swam.
More swamp country.
Yeah. And she was like, we swam in ponds that we knew had alligators in them. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
She was like, it was just, we knew the alligators were there, but they never bothered us. I'm like, that's not something that would have happened near Boston.
Yeah.
Go get in the lake with the alligator? Fuck you.
That would have been a mafia thing in Boston.
Yeah. Nobody's going swimming, but it was like a non-issue for her.
Yeah.
But for you guys too? Like a non-issue?
Yeah, well, I mean, mostly alligators eat at night,
Right.
or like around sunset. So, you could be out in waters and stuff like that. Ditch swimming was big when I was young. When it would rain a lot, the ditches would fill up, and people would just swim in the ditch. So you had, as a child, suddenly you had a 3.5-foot pool right there, that was 4 foot across. And then when those would go down, I remember all these scallions would grow. I think that's what they're called, scallions. What are those?
They're
things?
like onions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, ditch onions. So people would pop all of those out of the ditch.
Did people eat the ditch onions?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know what else I
They're
found
a
in the
little
South?
spicy, but they were good.
Well, because I'm not sure how organic that was.
Pretty organic, I feel like. I mean, we're pissing in there.
Yeah, I was going to say, man.
That's about as close to your organ as you can get.
Dude, what I love about the South is that, and through Beth's family, what is eaten and not eaten?
Yeah.
Like, what is eaten a lot of time with some of the folks, like on the pig or the cow, is every fucking thing.
Yeah.
But you're eating ditch onions. My mom wouldn't let me eat blackberries from the side of the road.
Wow.
She's like, what?
A lot of people wouldn't eat them around us because there was just racial discrimination. Really.
They wanted
they're not for us.
They're not for us. They're for the the white
for
berries.
black people.
When we get the white berries.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get our own berries,
we're going to
honey.
get the white berries.
Yeah.
But
no, that's in jest. But yeah, man, I remember, dude, they had a couple brothers by me used to grill up dove all the time, eating dove,
Just grill up some dove. What else? You ever had squirrel?
Have I ever had squirrel? No.
Raccoon? I've had squirrel before.
No, I haven't had raccoon. I've had guinea pig. I mean, I used to sell hamsters and guinea pigs. I know that you know that, and I've had I've had dove. Eventually, I sat and ate a little bit of dove with
How
these
was
brothers.
it? My brother-in-law will eat some dove.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I'd have it.
You wouldn't order it, like if it was at...
I wouldn't feed it to a lady.
All right, but if there was at Hugo's Tacos, you wouldn't be like, let me get 3 dove tacos?
No. I might get 1 dove taco.
One just to kind of mix it in?
Yeah.
1 dove, 1 pork.
Yeah.
I had squirrel because I was like, I'm going to try it. And the guy was like, it tastes like rabbit.
Yeah.
And I don't mind rabbit. Right? It's a little gamey. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to tell you something right now. It does not taste like rabbit.
Yeah.
No. It tastes like a rabbit on meth is what it tastes like. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like... It's a real tough chew.
Is it?
Oh, my God. Have you seen a squirrel, right?
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of meat on the squirrel. And it's mostly muscle, except the ones that live in my front yard are fat as... There was a...
Looks like owls. Not a lot of meat on owls. I had family that had 2 owls for Thanksgiving last year.
Get the fuck out of here.
Swear. And they had...
Wait. Well, how do you... They hunt an owl at night? Because during the day, they're ghosts.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't honestly know how they... One of them I know that they had as a pet for a long time. And then another one... Owls are violent. First of all...
Yeah, dude. Who has a pet owl?
Yeah, I'm sick of people giving owls all this fictional credit because they saw it on cartoons where they're magical and they're reading and shit and they're at the library, dude. Owls are violent, bro. Owls will kill a lot of small animals. Wigs, dude. Go read online how many wigs have been stolen by owls, dude.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Owls are extremely violent animals.
I'll tell you something.
And there's not a lot of meat on them, though. They look meaty, but they're not.
They're just fluffy.
Yeah, it's an illusion, dude.
But that's why they're so good with Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah.
I smoke too much weed to have an animal that can turn its head all the way around.
Yeah.
If I walked in and I had an animal that could turn all its head all the way around, I was high, and it did that to me, I'd be like, fuck you. You are gone. Dude, we had a rabbit that I rescued, right? We found a rabbit that it was limping. One of its legs was broken. So I was like, fuck, man, I can't just, I'm an asshole.
Maybe he was trying to make a lucky rabbit's foot. You ever think about that?
Well, dude, so we save it. And I'll go through this quickly because I'm sure some people have heard this. We save it. Beth named it Kevin Bacon because its foot was loose.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's funny, right? Awesome.
But we ended up cutting off. They had to amputate the leg. But I did ask the vet. I'm like, can I have the foot?
Yeah.
And she was like, why? I'm like, well, I heard those are lucky. And she said, well, not for him apparently. Dang. And I was like, yeah. I go, but can I have it? And she said something to me, dude, that I bet you she's never had to say before. But it made complete sense.
Yeah.
We're not in the habit of giving away dead animal limbs. And I was like, yeah, that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably not something that you want to just start giving away cut off animal limbs, right?
If people don't need, yeah, I guess if people don't need it.
Wow, who would need it?
I mean, I think in other times, you go back 50 years, you're going to get that.
Sure. But then she told me, she said to order it online, and I was like, yeah, but those aren't real. And she said, no, those are real. Did you know the ones that were in 7-Eleven when we were growing up?
Rabbit's feet?
Real.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine selling a real animal's foot? My brothers and I, and then when she told me that, I almost threw up, dude, because my brothers and I used to pick our teeth with the toenails, and I was like, I was like, that's a real? She goes, that's a real toenail. And she said, back then they weren't cleaning them that well. And I was like, oh, my fucking God.
Dude, that's amazing.
Real feet.
It's crazy to think you can go into a 7-Eleven and get real rabbit's feet.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
There's no
Really?
way.
Not in L.A. Not in California.
No, fuck no.
I bet some places you could.
Where you're from.
More roadside stops, regional.
Wherever they sell Larry the Cable Guy potato chips.
Yeah, definitely, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Or those comedy albums at the Register. Those are the places.
Those are the best.
Those places kept a lot of Southern comedy in business, man.
Dude, they're always attached to a Shoney's, too.
Yeah.
Dude, that's Shoney's.
They used to have dudes blowing each other behind the Shoney's by us.
Really?
Yeah, drug addicts.
Meet me at the Shoney's?
Yeah, our men would meet up there. It was kind of like a... This was back before. Now, like, if you're gay, it seems really... easy to be gay. You know what I mean? I know there's a lot of people, easier. Yes, I'm sorry. There's a lot of people that, I don't know the struggle. I mean, I've thought I may have, more of a late onset homosexuality when I'm probably maybe 60 or 70, but I want to have a wife and children and everything first,
And then maybe around 60, dabble in the dick.
Maybe 70.
70?
At that point, I'm sure... At that point, is it even gay or is it just like,
Let's just see.
Grandpa's fucking
yeah,
wild,
yeah.
Grandpa's a crazy guy.
Well, dude, have you ever done a threesome with two dudes and a girl?
No.
See, that's where I was never interested in that.
Yeah.
Because one...
It's very Roman.
Yeah! And I'm assuming I know the guy.
Right.
And I don't need that. I don't need to see his face. I'm never going to be able to come looking at my buddy. Do you know what I mean? That's a tough one for me. I had friends who loved it. They were like, yeah, we high five. I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know if I would do that. And then I think there was a couple of opportunities where I could have got involved in it, but I guess for some reason I passed. So I guess I'm thinking I wouldn't enjoy it because I chose not to get into it.
Dude, I do this a lot, but I want to know about the dude ghosting at your Ramada.
Oh, yeah. So this dude, Sweeney, so then they didn't have, this before they had elevators, back when... if you were handicapped, you just kind of waited at the bottom of the stairs and people would bring you up, if you had nice people. And I think probably a good way to meet people really back then. But
I never thought about that.
Oh, yeah. I think elevators take a lot of the interpersonal communication out of the world.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I would not be staying on the top floor anymore.
Yeah.
That first floor would now be
hot,
right? Who wants the penthouse? Give me that fucking first floor corner room.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Be nice.
Yeah.
So this dude was obsessed with getting this Ramada on like the National Ghost Registry, right, for haunted places in the universe or whatever. You know, like those ghosts, like senior citizens go on buses and go around the country and see ghosts, or look for them. So they wanted this. He was obsessed with getting this Ramada on there. And so upstairs, the rooms were directly across from each other along this long hall. The doors were directly across from each other. So he would rent the last 2 rooms of the hallway, open each door, dress up in his ghost stuff.
What's his ghost stuff, do you think? Just like a white?
Yeah, some whiter kind of beige sheets, maybe like a neck shawl or something. And then he would wait until people came to the top of the stairs at the other end of the hallway, and they're walking down it, and he would walk from one room across the hallway into the other room because both doors are open, right, far away from them. So they just see a ghost literally cross the hallway.
Oh,
right?
shit.
Yeah, and it was working. Like, people were thinking.
What year you think this is?
This is probably 90.
So before people were like, that's fake. That was still right in. You see it, you believe it.
Yeah. Well,
right in the middle of that.
Yeah, and it was a pretty good thing. It wasn't like, he just had a sheet with drawn on eyes. Like, it was very far away. It was extremely quick. I could see that it would.
Sure.
And especially if your town, there's not much going on.
Sure.
Yeah, let's get a ghost.
And especially if somebody has said, hey, the Ramada is haunted.
Yeah. One time is all it takes.
You want that shit. So did he get caught?
He didn't get caught for probably a year and a half, and I don't know how much he was doing it, but
I mean, the Ramada staff had to know, right? Because they rented him 2 rooms.
Yeah, the Ramada was onto it, I think.
Right.
Well, he was in cahoots. I think part of his family owned the Ramada.
Got it.
So he had some fiscal reward probably from it, back end.
If you see a ghost at the end of the hallway,
yeah,
and you think you really see a ghost, do you walk down to the end of the hallway, or do you turn the fuck around?
I think you turn around, especially back then.
Yeah, 100%. I turn around.
Yeah.
I know some people are like, I'm going to see the ghost.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, that's a lot of people that probably
are looking to die.
Yeah, people that watch TLC and shit like that,
Yeah, see, for me, like, the shows on TV aren't real.
Yeah.
But, like, the real ghosts, so you think ghosts, when we're ranking them, number 1.
Yeah.
I think, I'm with you. I think ghosts 100% are real. And I think the more you believe in them, the more apt they are to know you're open. I used to watch this show, Paranormal Activity. Was that the movie? But it was a paranormal show where this dude would go in, and he would chase demons. Mm-hmm. And Beth doesn't
what kind of demons?
Like,
any kind?
Yeah, not like demons. Like I got a bad gambling habit. Like, but like demons. Like
okay.
Yeah, like demons that would possess people.
Yeah.
And he would say demons look for people who believe in it or who are into that world because it's easier for them to attach. So, dude, now I smoke weed and walk around my neighborhood, right?
Yeah, dude, I can't drive past any furniture without thinking of you.
I mean, have you ever just put a couch on the side of the road?
Dude, I literally cannot see any piece of furniture on the side of the road without thinking of you these days.
It's the craziest thing. But I just drove by yesterday. I'm like, oh, dude, my favorite one happened like a month ago. Where I was like, oh, shit, look at all this good stuff.
Look at all this good stuff.
And then as I'm walking out, I see a woman putting stuff out. I'm like, are you moving? And she goes, he is. And I was like, oh, wow. Shit. When he was gone, she had taken all of his shit and started. So I posted that one. I was like, hey, dude, I don't know who you are, but if any of this looks familiar, I'd come get it right now.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I am fascinated by people I don't want it anymore, and just putting it out on the street. Like, who does that shit?
Well, they used to do it a lot. People would burn it, and they'd have ditch fires was a big thing, getting all your stuff outside, burning it, like that was big. And that's still big in more rural areas. Yeah. In the city, you can't do that. There's limits to starting fires.
They frown upon starting fires on the side of the house.
Yeah.
But the curvature is like,
you're out there. You're in that world.
Oh, dude. I'm in those streets, dude. Are you kidding? And
you're like the Wyatt Earp of old furniture.
There is some just ridiculous, like, I love it when people leave it out and leave a sign that says free. Oh, really? You didn't need me to, this wasn't, I thought we were some sort of transaction. I was waiting for you to come out. I had some cash. I was going to barter with you, seeing as how my dog just shit on your chair. You know what I mean? Of course it's free. Yeah. I get it. Yeah. Totally get free. Yeah. Not a sign I needed.
Yeah, I'm not putting in on this.
Yeah.
Oh, really? What if you're just out there on a bullhorn just yelling for them to come out, like the freebie, you want to discuss it with them? Have a couple questions?
How much for this one?
Yeah.
There's a nick on the corner.
Yeah.
How much for this one?
Are you going to deliver? What do you guys, what's the
How
real
am I
protocol?
going to get this to my place?
Yeah.
So, dude, you find some of the most... One dude who put his table out had forgotten to empty his drawers. Mm-hmm. So I always look.
Ooh, that's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, there were some old corn nut packages in there.
Ooh, yeah.
He had his remote controls where I was like,
Might need these.
Yeah, this dude got high and was like, I don't want this table anymore. And now he's high looking around his whole apartment like, where's my fucking remote?
Yeah, can you even work at sea without a remote? I don't even know.
Ultimate. Dude, when I was growing up, my dad refused to get a remote.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't want you getting lazy. I'm like, this has got nothing to do with lazy. But, like, I got to get up and change the channel every time. And he was like, I really don't need a remote anyways. I'm like, why? He's like, I got you. I'm like, yeah, that's the fucking...
That's true, dude.
I'm your remote.
That's awesome.
That's like when Jacob... There was one day where... And I've tried to explain this to people all the time. If you live in California, somebody does your lawn.
Yeah.
It's not like a rich thing.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It really isn't. It's just somebody does your lawn. It's how it always is. It's they're like, you don't pay that much. It's like a Walmart of lawn people.
Right.
They do a shit ton of lawns a day, and they don't charge you anything.
Right.
But there was one week our guy couldn't come, and I tell Jacob, I go, hey, man, you got to rake up some leaves. Yo, he was just like, what? And he goes, don't we like have people? And I was like, well, you mean people, man? And I could see him struggling with it.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, like, the Mexican guy? And I go, dude, you're my Mexican.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Get out and rake the leaves. Like
That used to be the thing, dude.
I raked. Didn't you mow lawns?
Oh, yeah, dude. I remember.
How'd you make money growing up?
Well, I used to sell hamsters for one of my first jobs. I used to clean out wishing wells. I got a job cleaning out wishing wells one time.
Wait, what do they do with that money?
Well, they had a man in our town who tricked me, and my friend said it was his wells, right? He had 2 wells. They had 2 wells in our town, dry wells.
Uh-huh.
Just big holes in the ground, but, kind of the stonework in the circle kind of deal. And people would wish in them, throw money in there. But there's a lot more stuff.
Like in Goonies.
Yeah, just like that kind of, but without like a universe of treasure down there.
Without the good stuff.
Yeah,
right.
without people walking through or some, a chance to look at some chick's tits down there, So we would go down, me and my buddy, and he had some learning deficiencies anyway, but he was like the closest person to me, so we were friends, But we would go down there, and we could keep, like, I think it was maybe 25% of whatever we pulled up, right? But most of the stuff in wishing wells, it's not wishes, dude. It is trash, recyclables, chairs,
Fingers.
Dude, what's crazy is a sword. We found a bloody sword one time. And we played with it for like 3 weeks and then just fucking threw it away, dude. In hindsight, probably was a weapon, a murder
It
weapon.
was called evidence.
Yeah.
But
and
wait,
not as much money, dude.
how do you get down in the well?
Ladder?
How
So
deep is it?
It was probably 10, 12 feet. And there would be a little water at the bottom, Maybe it was 8 feet. Maybe it felt like 12 feet then, But to a child, things feel deeper,
Sure.
So like maybe 8 or 9 feet.
And did he give you a cut of the money?
Yeah, but you thought it was going to be bigger, And I don't know if this was a time when people weren't making as many wishes. Like I don't know, what over time when people are most likely to wish, years wise. Like the 70s were a huge time for people.
Well, how much you pulling up out of there?
I mean, I remember the most we pulled was probably like $18 or something. Like it was a complete waste of time.
Dude, there's nothing worse than planning some sort of crime and not getting what you thought you were going to get.
Yeah.
Joey Diaz and I robbed a safe once.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And we thought, honestly, $40,000 to $60,000. Easy.
Wow.
Easy 40.
Whose money?
Okay. So
this is good, dude. I like thinking about theft.
I worked at a bar in Seattle. Mm-hmm. The dude who ran it was a fucking thief. He sold a lot of coke. I'd been working for him for 3 months. He hadn't paid me. I had owned / run the place that was there before. Mm-hmm. So he's like, man, if you'd stay on to help us get it up and running, so when your customers come in, they see you, so we keep them, all the stuff. And I was like, cool. And he was like, and you can pick whatever bartending shift you want, and we'll pay you, every 2 weeks as the manager. And I was like, cool.
Wow.
We went 3 months, no money. And I'm watching these guys. They're stealing money from the till.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
They're
like
spending money on drugs, all of that.
So I'm like, all right, well, I'm getting mine.
Yeah.
We've gone 3 months, and I've run this place as clean as I possibly can with you motherfuckers. So I'm like, I'm gonna take my money, plus I'm gonna get a little extra.
Yeah.
So it was Yankees weekend, Yankees Mariners.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked downtown forever. That's $40,000 to $60,000.
Wow.
Friday, Saturday. Nobody's going to the bank on Saturday. Nobody goes to the bank on Sunday.
Right.
You go on Monday.
Yeah.
So it's big loot, man.
Yeah.
And I tell Joe, hey, I'm out of town. They're never going to suspect me.
Yeah.
Here's the key to the back. Go in the back, but make it look like you broke in.
Wow.
Dude went in. We had another dude with us that Joey called Frankie the Lip.
Oh, my God.
Because he used to develop this huge pimple that he called a pimple. But I was like, if the pimple keeps coming back, that's not a pimple.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we kept him. We let him keep the pimple
That's
ruse.
a pimple that keeps on pimping.
Yeah, that's a pimple you can give to somebody else.
Yeah.
That's not a pimple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I said to him, I go, he had Frankie the Lip with him, who was the fucking getaway dude. Mm-hmm. Joey gets up.
So you were you worried when they go into this? Because you're just like, you're out of town.
I was in Moscow, Idaho, doing stand-up.
So you're just like, oh, you get off the phone with him, you're like, all right, let's see what happens.
We went through the whole thing, right? And he gets the safe. It's heavy. He calls me from the car. This motherfucker's so heavy. We're rich, Josh Wolf. We are rich. What's the combination? I'm like, I don't really know the combination. He's like, what? And he's like, I go, well, I think I know it. And I kept giving it to him. I must have given it to him wrong because I thought I knew it, and he couldn't open it. So it took him a little while to open it, and he called me maybe 2 hours later. You're not getting shit. I go, why? He goes, it's $28 in quarters.
No. It's like a wishing well.
Dude, the crooks didn't trust each other.
Oh.
They had two owners. They were both stealing. So one of the owners got in 20 minutes before Joe and cleared out the safe.
Oh.
And cleared out like $45,000, $50,000. But like we had planned, we were already, when he called me, he was like, oh, there's so much money in here, Josh Wolf. Oh my God. Oh, we're going to be rich. And like he was so fucking mad. He's like, me and the Lip are splitting this fucking money.
Do you think he told you the truth about how much was in there, or do you think he took it?
I do think he told me the truth because I saw how he lived afterwards.
Right.
And I'm
not discrediting Joey. I'm just saying at that time, who knows what was going on.
Well, I always considered Joey to be a moral criminal.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I mean by that is
100%.
He's stolen a $20 bill off the table from me at my house.
Yeah.
But then he took me out to lunch with it.
Right.
And he was like, I got it this time. I'm like, not really.
He's like,
I kind of got it, but he was like,
look, it's your money.
Yeah. Like, whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, man, when you think you're getting a heist of all heists, you come like with $28 in quarters.
Yeah.
That's a motherfucker. When you go down in the well and you're like, I'm finding gold.
Yeah.
This is where pirate Jean Lafitte buried his treasure.
As a kid, we thought there were anything that's jewels. We thought jewels, dude. We never even seen jewels, dude. I've still never seen any jewels.
But the lure of jewels when you're 12,
yeah. Jewels.
Now,
we had this kid named Small Allen, too, that was over there that would fucking go do shit with us.
Small Allen?
Yeah, dude. This dude was like I don't know if he was a midget, dude. He was like a midget with like giganticism, Like
He's the biggest of the small people.
Yeah. And he looked.
Was he all thighs in? Because little people can get all thighs and elbows sometimes.
He was just about 60% of a regular person. And they called him Small Allen. But his dad actually was like kind of Slavic or something. And he used to have, his dad would get, and this is like, I know for some people this might sound a little pedophile and stuff like that, but this wasn't like that. This is back, not everybody who just pulled their junk out around children was pedophiles. I used to have an uncle that would run through the living room naked on Christmas Eve, and it wasn't Christmas Eve until he did that. Like it wasn't.
Wait, what was he wearing? Did he have a Santa hat on?
Naked? No, I don't fucking know, dude. He had drug issues and he used to masturbate in his sleep. But But it wasn't Christmas until that happened. And we weren't like, oh, what a, we're just like, he's fucked up, dude. Santa's coming. Thank God. You know? Praise Christ.
It was like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, it was just, this is how, this is part of the festivities.
Yeah, his dick said there's going to be another 2 days before Christmas.
Yeah. Well, Small Alan had a little brother. I don't remember his brother's name. And the dad used to be in like I don't want to say vaudeville, but something like that, but in like Romania or something. They were like gypsies, their family was gypsies. Well, his brother dad the kid would grab onto, like, the dad would have his pants down, the kid could grab onto the top of his penis and balls and fully lift his leg.
Small Alan could?
No, his little brother, dude. I don't even Little or Gerald. I don't even know what his brother's name was. I don't remember, but Small Alan's brother would grab onto the nuts and hang from his dad's penis and nuts, dude. And the dad was totally okay, bro.
Boy, that's like some fucking Slavic Cirque du Soleil shit.
Very, very old school, very Russian, very
that's what
18th century kind of shit.
At one point in his family, someone was on a high wire with one of those big sticks.
And they're like, bring out Small Alan.
And Small Alan would hang by his nuts, and they would walk across the... that was like... That's what their family is known for, is the nut hangers.
Yeah. If the kid falls off, you die, like...
Dude, I gotta tell you something.
But it was fascinating, and we didn't think the dad was... Because the dad wasn't trying to be a pervert, it didn't seem like. Just the vibe
There's nothing
was
sexual about anybody hanging onto your nuts and just swinging by them. There's nothing sexual about that
at
all.
That's a good point. That's true.
That's some circus shit. Like, that's some shit where you're like, look, if I was in Vegas and that was at a Cirque du Soleil show, I'd be like, that's fucking really good. How did you learn? Like, how do you learn? Whenever I hear shit like that, though, Theo, my first question is, how do you learn that's a talent?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, how do you be? What's the first person you think? You know what? Why don't you try hanging on my nuts?
Yeah.
That's always my question when people have talents like that.
That's a good point.
I think I always think like it starts smaller. You know what I mean? Like he clamped something to his nuts and it kind of hung down like a kettlebell. Like he tied a dick around a kettlebell.
Yeah. Like a couple of like maybe he had those sausages that are hooked by like the the middle part. And he's hung a couple of those.
Yeah. Just to see, and he just to kind of test it out a little bit. And he was like, "Well, this isn't that bad."
And he's like, "I'll move up and I'll take a coffee cup that has like a little a handle on it."
Yeah, and then he'll just add some sand every now and then.
Yeah.
Well, I got a full coffee cup of sand. All right, what's next? Small child, bring out Alan.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Those are the days, man.
Dude,
it was just different, man.
Do you keep in touch with your old friends from home?
Yeah, some. I actually just saw a kid last week, and I think he has Asperger's. I didn't realize it when we were children because everybody's having a good time. So some dude was just yelling shit out all the time and partying, and it was like kind of cool. But
what did he yell shit out?
Oh, he came to my comedy show, right? A friend of mine, and I hadn't seen him in 20 years. Funny guy, really, really funny, nice dude, but literally every 2 minutes at the show, he had to kind of yell something out. Like he was, and it wasn't even that he was part of the show. I ended up realizing he had an issue. He had something wrong with. But and thinking back on, he drove everybody a little bit nuts when we were young. But he was handsome guy, and he was cool, and he was athletic. He was just a regular dude, but he also drove everybody nuts. And I realized, wow, this guy has some, a hit of the tism or something in him that's really
hint of the tism,
making the squirrels run inside of his skin. But it was still good to see him. But I don't know if I'd invite him back to my comedy show again.
He was a little vocal.
Yeah, that's it. Just yelling shit. It's like, wow.
I always,
and it hurts. It hurts you as an entertainer because you're playing your song.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Do you like it when the crowd talks to you?
I don't mind it I don't mind it too much, but if it gets out of hand or if they're being really negative, I don't like it. Because I won't be negative with them. I used to be like, oh, fuck this, or whatever. Right. I don't do that anymore. I try to show them respect. I hope they do the same.
It depends on what night you catch me.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Some nights,
Your mood can depend on a lot.
Some nights, because people forget, not only am I doing my job, but I'm also a person.
Yeah.
So some nights, I don't want to deal with you talking. And now I don't go in on you. At first, if it's a night like that for me, I'll say something like, hey, listen, guys. A lot of people here. Everyone paid. you're just so you know, no one paid to hear you talk.
Yeah.
So I'm tonight's just not the night. I appreciate it if you just quiet it down.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it's just not going to end well.
Yeah.
For you especially.
Yeah.
It's going to end pretty well for me. Not so well for you. And so, but some nights I like playing with people. You know what? Here's what I don't like. If you're in the first couple rows and you have your phone out, we got a problem.
Wow. We
got a problem because it's where I work.
Right.
And to sit up front where I can see you not paying attention to me is just listen, I know it doesn't seem like it sometimes, but we work hard on our jokes and on our craft.
Yeah.
So if you sit down in front of me, it's like turning your back to me.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yeah, that's true. That would hurt some, man. And I see it sometimes. I don't mind if somebody gets up and leaves and goes.
Either do I.
Yeah,
I don't mind that at all.
But to sit there and that light's glowing and you're just doing one of your favorite bits or something, and they're just sitting there, don't even give a fuck.
Not one fuck about what you're saying. And they even they laugh at a text that they get instead of your joke. They're like, I'm like, no. Fuck no.
What are you talking about? I brought these jokes from, I flew these jokes 1,600 miles.
Yeah. Not for you to fucking turn on your phone.
Dude, you didn't tell me, what were you going to tell me, though? You were going to tell me something about Last Comic Standing.
Oh, so I cheated.
Yeah.
So Theo and I were the last comics downloaded, right? So they had a competition. They had like a head-to-head, almost like a Final Four, if you will, NCAA, right?
Mm-hmm. They had 40 people that were going to be, potentially could be on Last Comic Standing.
And so you face-to-face with each other. And Theo and I ended up being, face-to-face.
On the internet. And this when the internet was just still kind of
just
popping.
Beginning.
Yeah.
Just
MySpace.
beginning.
This is MySpace time.
Oh, yeah. So I had a friend of mine who worked in computers. And he goes, hey, man, do you want to win? And I said, yeah. And he goes, I can set up a program that just gives you a vote like every minute. And I'm like, really? For all of them? He goes, yeah, for every single competition you do. He goes, I'm pretty sure you'll win. We got to the finals, dude.
Yeah.
But my man I still couldn't beat you, even though I was cheating.
That's crazy, man.
I mean, even though I wondered if I would ever tell that story, but nobody gives a shit.
No.
Nobody gives
cares.
a shit. Mm-mm. And the one thing I hated about that show, even though I liked doing it at the time, and by the way, it was the first time I'd ever seen Josh Blue. He blew me away.
Yeah.
Because I'd never heard anyone be like, do that. But I remember calling him a prop comic.
Yeah.
And the audience was like, boo. Because I followed him. And I was trying to. I find the best way to follow somebody like that is to just poke fun.
Yeah.
Like if we were on stage and I was going to follow. You ever follow Joey Diaz at the Comedy Store?
Yeah.
He's 15 minutes of him on fire is like.
It's like literally a fire being in the room.
Yeah, it's relentless. When he hits it. And especially for 15 minutes.
It's relentless.
Oh, my God. And you're just back there going, holy fuck. So I would follow him by telling a story that kind of make fun of him. Mm-hmm. But that's the way to do it.
Right.
So I followed Josh. And I remember I roomed with him. And I remember him saying, whoever has to follow me is in trouble.
Wow.
5 minutes of me is in trouble. Because 5 minutes of him was really 2.5 minutes with the fucking ovations and the
and that's the first some of the early times when they had people that had disabilities and handicaps on television.
Yes,
like America's Got Talent hadn't come out and like milked to that thing. Like, now they're throwing like 3-headed people up there, and it's like
they're telling 3 different jokes at once.
Yeah, somebody has no parents. Like this boy has no parents,
dude.
Never did. This boy appeared.
We found him in a tree.
Yeah, we found him in a tree, man. His dad is a
squirrel.
His dad's a squirrel, and his mother is a bougainvillea. And it's just like, this is all shit.
He's got 3 heads, 7 fingers.
Yeah.
And they're all coming out of his belly button.
Yeah. 2 of his heads sing. One of them has a gambling problem.
Yeah, dude. It's so funny. Any reality show now, like if you don't have a sob story, you're like, the only one I watch, and I'll watch it with Beth, is I'll watch The Voice. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when somebody with a good voice comes on, but their story is just, they're 21 and they have a great family, and their story is just, I just want it really bad. I'm like, she's got no shot.
Yeah.
Like nobody, I just want it real bad girl is not beating, my dad is a squirrel and my mom has 7 fingers in her belly button. Everyone's like, oh, I'm fucking, I got to vote for the belly button girl.
You better not know how to read.
Yes. Yeah, you better have some, there better be something
naughty,
really bad
that
comes out where people are like, well, we got to vote for this. He eats hamsters.
So you brought me here to apologize today, then, right?
I brought you here to apologize and to tell. Well, I don't got to apologize. You won, motherfucker. I mean,
I'm joking, bro. I'm joking.
You won. That's
Dude,
the
I was just happy to be in the contest. I was happy to even be in the contest. I was happy to be have my name next to your name in any association. I was just excited to be there.
And then we went to Lake Charles, and we put on a show we had no business putting on in like a 10,000 seat arena.
And I think we sold maybe 150 tickets.
I remember because my wife had no idea how it really worked.
Right.
She was like, well, you guys were on TV, so we'll rent out the arena. And we were like, I was like, okay. I said, are you sure we're going to be able to fill that? And she was like, you were just on TV. Everybody watches Last Comic Standing, and nothing comes to Lake Charles. Everybody's going to want to come to meet the guys on TV. And I was like, okay. And she was like, make sure you get Theo. And then we had fucking Flip.
Yeah.
Tiny hand Flip.
Yeah, we thought Flip was homosexual at the time.
Yeah, but he's not.
He's not. He's married now, and he might have late onset homosexuality like I do.
Yeah, he has those tiny little hands too. Yeah,
but he has very small hands.
Yes,
and that can lead you to believe that sometimes.
Yeah.
If somebody sets a small hand in your hand,
and genteel.
Yeah,
not a heavy shake.
Lace.
Yeah,
hands of lace.
So
man.
smooth. I just wanted to rub one of his hands in between mine all the time.
Oh, it's almost like he bought his hands at an antique shop.
Yeah, dude, so nice, right?
Antique hands.
But I remember we did that radio spot. If we hadn't done that radio spot, there would have been 8 people at that show.
Yeah.
It was a giant place.
Was it? I remember,
dude,
but I don't remember that well.
It's where Larry the Cable Guy played.
Wow.
2 weeks before. It's their downtown. It's massive, maybe 5,000.
Really?
Dude, we sold like 120 tickets. And then we went out to try to sell merch afterwards, and people were just not having that shit at all. That was the craziest. That's when I realized I don't think I know that much about what's happening in stand-up.
Right.
Because that was before I was touring with Cable Guy.
Right.
And so I didn't really even realize.
Wow. You got to tour with him? That's amazing.
Oh, dude, it was he's the nicest.
Yeah, I've always heard nice things about him.
379 punchlines in his set.
Damn.
We counted them one night. 379. It's like when I hear young comics make fun of Cable Guy or Foxworthy, I'm like, you don't get it.
Yeah.
You don't get it. First of all, you wish your career is a quarter of the success.
Yeah.
A quarter of the success. But Foxworthy has the 2 highest grossing comedy albums of all time.
Yeah.
Say what you want. You may not think he's funny. That dude is a great comic.
Oh, 100%. And I wonder why why hasn't the comedy world embraced or Hollywood embraced more like Southern or kind of rural comedians? They haven't done it in a long time.
Because
it's been 25 years.
Portrayed as dumber. You know, look, I don't care what you say, whether somebody's humor is dumb or not. If you're a good stand-up, you're not dumb.
Yeah.
Comedy.
Agreed.
If you're a good stand-up comedian, you're not stupid.
Yeah.
There's just no way. Writing a joke is not something a stupid person does well.
Yeah.
It's a difficult thing. And then to master it, now they may not talk the same way, and Cable Guy, a lot of that is an act, everybody. Right. But to roll out 379 punchlines, and there for a while, dude, when I toured with him for 4 years, and he had a new hour and a half 3 times over those 4 years.
Wow.
You know, and I worked with Foxworthy on Fifth Grader.
Wow.
I wrote jokes for him. But the only reason I took that job, dude, and I told my agent, I go, tell Jeff I'll take the job if he gives me a half an hour a day to pick his brain about stand-up. Dude, it was fascinating. You know, he used to get up at 4 in the morning when he was starting, go into his garage, and call radio stations all around the country. And that's how he got You Might Be a Redneck stuff. And he just built up his name back when radio really did, right?
Yeah.
But he would do it from 4 to 8 every morning, sit in his garage, and he would tell me, calling radio stations all around the country, all during drive time. You know, as they got later, he came across, and he sat and smoked cigarettes and drank coffee, did it for 4 hours every fucking morning.
Wow.
Every morning, dude. And like, he was no fluke. And his stand-up, I went and watched his stand-up a couple of years ago at the Ryman in Nashville.
Still awesome.
Come on, man. You know what? The confidence it takes to speak at his pace, to not swear, to never yell, to never raise his voice, and to still hold an audience for an hour and a half. That takes.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get comfortable with silence on stage?
I'm just even enjoying that more now. Is silence, because silence I equate it more now with just listening, kind of.
Yeah.
And silence is almost like an instrument that you're playing a little bit. When they're silent, if you know there's a punchline coming and they don't really know, or they don't know what direction it's going to go, then that's really like it's almost like you're walking on a tightrope, you know?
Yeah.
But you know that you're gonna, that's what they think, you know, that you don't know how you're gonna survive.
Yeah.
But you know that you're about to cut the rope and turn it into like a rope swing. You know?
That's a great description, dude, because
kinda how I
that's the
feel.
thing. Like you're leading them down a path, but they have blinders on.
Yeah.
Like they can't see where you're leading them.
Yeah.
And then you take off the blindfold and you're like, ha-ha!
Yeah,
You're
here
like,
we
what
are.
the fuck?
Yeah,
I never
well-
knew we were going to be here.
We're at your grandma's.
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like, no!
Hey! Dude, do you... Now, I used to, but I don't anymore. Like, I can't get on stage high or drunk.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't even drink anymore. I quit drinking about a year ago.
How's that going?
It's going great, man. I love it. I love not...
Had you hit a bad spot?
I mean, I'd had some crazy times, but I remember one time I was going to Opie and Jim Norton's show, and I was in New York City, and that show had 1 million listeners at some of its height. And I remember going, and I stayed up all night partying, and I got in there, and I was not in any kind of good condition. And like Daryl Strawberry was in there, right?
Oh, shh.
Yeah. And here I was in my head.
He can recognize that.
Oh, yeah, dude. And he'd been like 13 years sober, and in my head, I'd always kind of thought, you know, I'm better than Daryl Strawberry. You know, like this guy can't, you know, not really. I mean, I always loved Daryl
I know
Strawberry.
what you mean, yeah.
But just somewhere in my head, like, oh, Daryl Strawberry. But then here he is, like 13 years sober and eloquent and successful and this and that. And it made me think, made me kind of reevaluate some things. And then also, the great comics right now, or some of the ones who are most successful, are sober.
Yeah.
You know, or don't party. Some, you know, but then there's also guys like Rogan, you know, who have, you know, huge followings, and Diaz and you who are okay with partying. They seem to manage it, you know. But
that's all about
I
being
couldn't
able to manage
well.
it. Yeah.
Right. I felt like I felt I was getting to a point where I wasn't managing it well.
Was it affecting your work?
When I showed up to that thing and I was fucked up, right? I was like, this is affecting my work. Because if you'd asked me a year earlier, hey, dude, will you show up at this radio station tomorrow? I'd be like, yeah, I'd be love to, dude. You know, I'll go to bed early, of course, because I'm going to be ready. But then here I was, not in any good condition. I mean, I've been actually, to be honest, I was high on uppers, and I've been actually driving I'd met a taxi driver, and he had
Met a taxi driver?
Met a taxi driver. I got into a taxi.
Right.
And then he ended up, we ended up buying drugs together. He ended up buying me a prostitute. I don't like prostitutes. I
I
respect them.
Wait.
You know, it's a tough job.
Wait. You're skipping so many steps, Theo.
Yeah.
How does that conversation start with the cab driver?
I thought he said drugs. He said something else. He didn't speak English.
He
as a
said
second
hugs.
language. Yeah, he could have said hugs.
He was like,
or
you want a hug? And you were
lugs.
like,
You hear
love
the
some
tires?
cocaine. Yeah.
You hear the tires, baby? Lugs. I'm like, drugs?
He could have said hippopotamus, and you'd be like,
Yeah.
you say drugs?
Yeah.
I'm
like,
on board.
Did you say hippopot? You know? So anyway, we got some drugs. He ended up buying it's the nicest guy, Luigi. I still text him sometimes.
He bought you a hooker, but not one for himself?
Yeah. He bought me a hooker, and then we
Did he say, he said, hey, man, I got the drugs first, and then he said, let me get a hooker?
He said, no, he surprised me with the hooker.
Oh, like
a gift, yeah.
Oh, it was.
He's like, I got a gift for you. We're sitting in the back of this taxi partying together. He's like, I got a gift for you. And I thought I was going to be some cock, you know? 'Cause I grew up in like a broken home.
Hell yeah.
And so I'm practicing my like, see a cock, don't be interested faces, you know?
Uh-huh. Oh, is
Like,
that it?
Oh, sure. Not tonight, you know? Just ate. But next thing you know, this hooker gets in and
He sneak hooked you.
yeah, he sneak hooked me. But then I didn't want that. And the next thing you know, he ends up hooking up with the hooker. I'm driving the taxi. So literally driving a taxi in North
And
Harlem.
they're fucking in the back seat.
They weren't fucking, but there was some sexual interaction going on. You know, they was really enjoying each other's time. But yeah, man. So then I end up at the radio station with Daryl Strawberry. So like Fast forward an hour and a half, I'm at the radio station with Daryl Strawberry, and that's when I was like, dude, what, like, everything in my life is great, but this seems to be a little bit unmanageable at times. So, and a lot of that just goes honestly back to me being like, I got like a lot of just emotional issues, or, fear of commitment, fear of rejection. Just a lot of fears probably from growing up, that never.
Did you have a mom and dad?
Yeah, my dad was 70 when I was born. My dad was really old. And then I had my mother, but she worked really hard. So she didn't provide much emotionally for us, I mean, she could have been on welfare. She chose not to be on that. She chose to work instead, but then you can't be there. So, it just, I grew up a lot of times just making choices for myself, and in like a
brothers, sisters?
Yeah, I got an older brother, 2 younger sisters, and just scary. And it was in a scary neighborhood, so I just grew up in a lot of fear. So I think a lot of that resonated with me for a long time. But yeah, so then I quit. Fast forward, I quit drinking about a year ago.
Are you a better comic?
Yeah. I mean, I had like a #1 album this year. Like we had this album, 30-Pound Bag of Hamster Bones, that was #1 on the charts for almost a month.
And by the way, guys, why I haven't asked him to tell the hamster story is just that. Like, just go to Netflix.
Yeah.
Or buy his album.
Yeah, you can get the album. We got the special on Netflix.
But like that story will give you an example of what I was telling you about his storytelling abilities. Dude, they're like, that's not a story anybody else tells.
Yeah. Yeah, those hamps, man. Slinging hamps was... And this is back when you didn't see people selling small ground game in the middle of the night.
You know what? You still don't see much of it.
Yeah, I guess that's
I mean,
true.
I don't think anyone picked up your business. They were like,
yeah.
Wait, Theo's not in the hamster business anymore? Like,
well.
Dude,
Yeah, we used to sell them, man, hamsters and G-pigs, and they're beautiful.
Look at that sign. What does that sign say?
Oh, wow, found hamster.
Okay.
And they spelled it right.
Okay, so, Theo, when we were living in Studio City with the other white people, right?
Yeah.
So, I hate a hamster because they're nocturnal. They don't tell you that they're going to run that wheel at night.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
they're in the dark arts. I've always said that.
Oh, and they're creepy as shit, right?
Yeah, they didn't used to be as much, but they've gotten creepier.
Yeah, they're a little creepier.
Yeah.
I, as a rule, don't trust animals that walk and shit at the same time.
Yeah.
That's not my, horses, rabbits.
Horses, some Indian
people,
the Vietnamese.
Yeah. Those people, anybody who walks and shits at the same time, we're not going to be friends. That's not, you're not in my, I don't like it. So, we had this hamster, and I fucking hated it. Yeah. And Jacob and I told Beth, I'm like, I'm getting rid of this fucking hamster. She was like, the kids love it. I'm like, well, don't worry. So Jacob's in the backyard with his friend. He's probably 4, maybe 5. Mm-hmm. And he says to me, hey, can we take the hamster out and play with him in the backyard? And I went, yep. Because, at 4 or 5, your attention. Yeah. I mean, that hamster's got what?
Gonna be gone.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Max. And then I don't have to live with the guilt. He let it go.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's good parenting. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You can just draw a picture of him, hire an artist to draw a picture of him letting it go.
Yeah, and just put it on this wall and be like, hey, this
is what happened.
Yeah, this is what happens, right? Life lesson plus good for me.
Yeah.
So, hamster gets away. Oh, my God. I tell him, you know what, buddy? It's probably better. He's going to be out there with all his hamster friends. He gets to live in the wild. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot more opportunities out there for him for romance.
Yeah, yeah. He's here by himself. He's looking for love. He's out there looking for love.
Well, at some point in his life, he will be. They don't live long.
No.
So by week 3, they're usually looking for sex.
Right. And I was thinking when we don't live long, I was probably thinking that night.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot. There are a lot of owls in that neighborhood.
Oh yeah. Well, back to that.
Yeah. Right. So 2 days later, we find that stuck to a telephone pole.
No.
Found hamster, call, and they have their phone numbers up there. And 2 phone numbers. And what's the picture down at the bottom? What did somebody draw? A little hamster face.
Yeah, it looks like a little hamster face.
So clearly, whatever little child found this hamster drew this.
Have you ever called them?
Oh, we called them. They wouldn't give the hamster back.
No way.
They were like, you know what? How badly you want the hamster? I'm like, not at all.
Yeah.
We don't want the hamster at all. And they're like, yeah, whatever the kid's name was, kind of fella loves it. I'm like, yeah, keep the hamster.
Yeah.
But we're keeping the sign.
Wow.
The sign was like, it's the best. Because
beautiful sign.
Who thinks a hamster survives a night in Studio City?
Nobody. Oh, that's a great animated series.
The hamsters.
Integrated movie. The Hamsters of Studio City.
The hamsters of dude. There are parrots that fly around Studio City.
Really?
Yeah, they're a parrot. They're a flock. Is it a flock?
Yeah, on fleek they say now.
A fleek of parrots.
Yeah.
I know you got a jet. Tell everybody. And by the way, man,
Yeah, I'd love to come back, man, because I know we got to finish some of this conversation.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, too, so Sweeney, he was doing the ghost, and it was going well.
Oh, yeah.
And then he left his ghost costume on one time when he was driving, and they caught him driving a Dodge Ram, and they busted him.
As the ghost.
Yeah.
It was like a real life Scooby Doo.
Yeah, it was like a real life Scooby Doo.
I would have got away with it too. They took the fucking mask on him. He'd be like, "It's Old Man Sweeney." Dude,
that's how they caught him, though. He was in a Dodge Ram driving with the thing. I guess he just got so in that world, living outside of himself and ghosting, that he started to see the world through that, and he drove home in it. Ghosts don't drive, you're busted.
I just picture Old Man Sweeney in the glow-in-the-dark ghost costume that there's in all the Scooby-Doos, and he's driving, but the noise is like, whoa! Woo!
The best part is when they come up to his window and they're like, "Do you know what we pulled you over for?" And he still has no idea that he's in the ghost costume. Yeah.
Or maybe he's still playing Ghost.
Right.
Ooh, I'm not here.
Do you know?
Do you know? Yeah, dude. I would love you to come back, guys. I can't tell you enough. And also, man, tell everybody about your podcast. I listened to your podcast.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Yeah, man.
Dude, you're like I said, man.
It's coming along. We got 2 podcasts. One called Allegedly, and that's with Hollywood types, with me and Matthew Cole Weiss. And then I have one called This Past Weekend that comes out on Mondays. And I just talk about the weekend and take callers from struggling adults who are struggling with just all types of stuff. And then we try and just talk about it.
This Past Weekend makes me laugh, man.
Thanks, man.
Really makes me laugh because it's 100% you.
Yeah.
And like I've said, man, what I think will always, why I know you're going to be successful is because you're 100% you.
Yeah.
And the people who are unabashedly 100% themselves, look what happened with Joey.
Yeah.
After 50, he hit it, but he never stopped being himself, right?
Yeah.
And people finally were like, "Oh, this dude is
Yeah.
the real deal." And that's the thing, man. The reason I'm 100% sure that you are going to be at that next level is that you're 100% you on stage, man.
Thanks,
There's
man.
nobody that does anything close to it. So, guys, if you haven't heard his stand-up, check it out.
Yeah. I appreciate